Hey guys, I have had the pleasure of having a hands-on preview with the first chapter of the game You Snail, a 2D platforming rage game where an AI tries to predict your moves. This has been a game I have been really looking forward to ever since videos of the game just started popping up on YouTube in 2018, and 4 years later, the game is finally releasing. Before I get into my thoughts on the game, I want to first thank Jonas and his incredible community for giving me early access to the game. If anything I say in this preview interests you, the game is releasing on March 9th on Steam, PlayStation 4, Xbox, and Nintendo Switch. This preview will be specifically covering the PC release of the game. Something that stood out to me immediately when I booted up You Snail is the insane amount of polish in this game. A big part of the game is that this AI named Squid will follow you around in levels, comment on you, make fun of you, stuff like that, and throughout my first hour of the game, there has not been a single line of dialogue that has been repeated. There is so many different lines of dialogue for different scenarios that it just makes the world feel really dynamic. It makes it just, I don't know, it just makes it feel more real. It makes it feel like you're more in that world and that it's not just some, funny enough, just some robot just repeating the same things over and over. And alongside just those voice lines, I think the visuals for this game are incredible too. If we take a look back at 2018 and see how the game looked back then compared to what it looks like now, it is night and day. The lighting, the colors, it's just all so great. And even if you don't like the current color scheme, there are 4 different color schemes that you can use in the game to make the levels look a bit different. And alongside that, if you just straight up want to make your own, you do have that option too. I also do feel like the controls feel pretty great too. It feels very precise and it feels like you are very much so in control of what the snail does. The only thing that you don't really have in control is the spikes that Squid are gonna randomly pop up throughout the game. There aren't even like other unique mechanics to levels, such as one level where you have to use a blaster to move through these different blocks and kill enemies that are in your way. But also those blocks that you destroy, they're gonna fall on you, and if they hit you, you die. It is definitely a really challenging game, but I'm having a great time with it so far. And this game is also built just with the intention to annoy the player, and I feel like he has done just such a great job with it. Such as, just for example, there are 4 difficulty options, but the hardest difficulty option is easy. And the other ones below it are different variations of easy. Squid will mock you for changing the difficulty, dying to very easy things, dying to the same thing over and over, and when you finally beat a level, it feels like you're rubbing it in the face of the AI, and it's super satisfying. I will say, out of the one chapter that I have had the pleasure to play, there was one part that I did feel a little mixed on, and I really hope throughout the rest of the game there is a bit better scenarios of this. But the boss fights felt a little, I don't know what the word would be, but the boss fight felt very lackluster. It didn't really feel like it was a boss trying to kill you. It felt more like an obstacle that you just had to avoid. And I just kind of wish the boss fight felt a bit more threatening. But I don't know. I would love to see just more of this game, because honestly, more than likely, the rest of the game has this fixed. It was the first boss fight. That's all I really have a preview of right now. But that first boss fight was not the best in my opinion. But I'm sure Jonas does have more in store that is going to be a lot better than that first boss. Lastly, I want to talk about the music for this game, and it is super chill. Every track is super fitting for every single scenario. The music is also dynamic depending on what you're doing. And honestly, I just want to play more of the game to see what else there is for this OST. But that's all I could talk about You Snail before launch. If you want to hear my final thoughts on the game, I will be doing a full review of the final game later this week. Probably not on launch day, because there's just too much of this game that I want to go through before I give my final thoughts on You Snail. But yeah, once again, thank you so much, Jonas, for giving me early access to your game. I've been so excited to play this game, and I'm really excited to cover more of it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.